the 6 golden threads of learning. Play. Play is the answer. It's the big, thick golden thread that runs round and through all of the rest of them. Play has endless possibilities. So let's pause at the very beginning of today and think, what do we mean by play? Well, I'll give you an example. I was in a nursery setting for a couple of weeks, and on a Wednesday morning I said to the team who belonged there, I didn't belong, I was a visitor, can I be in charge of the sand? Because I noticed yesterday there wasn't any depth of conversation. The experimentation in the sand wasn't as good as it could have been. And I felt as if the children were just busy, but there was no real thinking. Now, while that's fine, I just hate a missed opportunity, a missed possibility. So they said yes, and I was delighted. And I took 2 tins of treacle, black molasses sugar, and I took half the sand out of the sharing sand tray and I put the treacle into it, and then I put the sand back on. So to the naked eye, it looked as if there was nothing in the sand. Although I was surrounded by lots of loose parts and lots of tools for sand play that I could have put in. I waited on the children. And as they came into the room, they wandered over, they looked around to see what was possible today in the play. And little Darren came over and he looked at the sand and he looked at me and he said, "Will I get you some shells, Alice?" And I said, "Well, I can see all of the things that are available to me. I'm just having a..." When I turned back round, he had gone. He wasn't interested in what I was thinking about. Then the next person who approached me was Amy. And Amy kind of said something similar. She said, "Will I get the buckets and spades, Alice? What are we going to do in the sand?" I said, "Well, I thought I would leave that up to you today, Amy." She said, "Okay, I'll come back later." I said, "Okay, bye." And off she trotted. Derek came in. And Derek is a cheeky wee chap sometimes. He's challenging. And he is challenged by a home life that's chaotic and mixed up and a bit crazy sometimes. And so he doesn't settle to play. His concentration, focus and attention is phenomenally concerning. And so when he came over and he looked at me and he looked at the sand and he looked at me and he looked at the sand and he kind of leaned on the edge of the sand and he said, "What are you doing?" I decided, whoa, this is my moment. And I said, "Derek, today at the sand, I thought we might do something different." And he just kind of looked. I said, and so I started to play around with the edge of the sand. And as I played around with the edge of the sand, I chatted to him. And we were chatting about the sand and the beach and the shells and all the things that we had the option of picking. And I paused. I said, "Oh. Do you see how I'm using my voice? I think we underuse our voice as a tool for learning all the time." And I kind of made that sound. And he said, "What is it?" His little eyes got wider. I said, I don't know. And he kind of stood up and he said, "No, what is it, Alice?" I said, "I don't know, Derek." He took a step back and he said, "What is it?" So I knew it was time to show him. And I pulled my hand out, covered in black molasses sugar, covered in treacle, sticky, yucky, and sand, like a swamp monster. And he went, "Ew, that's disgusting, that's minging," which is a brilliant Scottish word. And 2 or 3 children came running over immediately to see what was disgusting. And I'm standing like the swamp monster, or sitting like the swamp monster. And they were fascinated. So they started to touch the tips of my fingers. They started to poke around. And for the rest of the day, the language was better, the conversations were amazing, the scientific thinking was phenomenal. And the maths was oozing out of it as well, and how high do I hold my hand up, and then how long does it take to disappear, and can we make lines and curvy lines. At one point we drilled through it and we put a tube into it and we were rolling balls and cars through the tube in the big hill of sandy, treacly mush. Now, we can't possibly do that kind of play every day. But what we need to do is just notice something's not working, we're missing possibilities, I need to do something else, I have a role to play in this thing called play. What can my role be today? And do something with that. Now, my top 2 tips here would be do it outside, and 1 tin would have been enough. But hey, you learn through everything you do, don't you? And so I love materials, and materials help us. If we're in a situation in a nursery and we're a 1:5 or 1:10 ratio, we can't be the leader of play and learning, we can't be the teacher all of the time. What we have to do is we have to ask the materials that we surround ourselves with possibilities. We have to rely on the materials and the environments and the tables and the little curiosity corners and the drawers of discovery to entice a child to engage while we are busy with other children. And so look around your spaces for play and think about the possibilities that there are to entice, enchant, ignite a spark for your children without you having to do it. And if the answer is not very much, would make me excited as a 40-year-old, a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old, an 18-year-old, then we need to think about our environments. We need to think about our invitations to play, to engage deeply and richly in possibility. And then we have to think about the materials. And I have a bag of materials here. So let's have a think. Well, actually, let's talk about our 6 goals. So here is my little baby Sean. Here he is, my little cherub here. And this, he is why I do everything that I do. This little chap and every other little chap and chapess that we come across. Obviously I can't keep a child handy for making videos. So Sean and my friend called Delilah, who's not here today, is someone that I use to spark my ideas off of. But in my little house here, in my little castle, my castle of possibilities, I have... What on earth? Now, I work with a colleague, Mary, and she has popped something into my golden threads for learning. Now, usually inside this little house, there's only 6 golden threads. But today, yes, they are there. There they are. There's some of them there. But inside here, there is a little chap as well. Look, he's here. So Mary's keeping me curious. Mary is sparking my little neurons in my brain to make me want to engage in my 6 golden threads. I'll put him there. I don't know what his name is. He's new to me. Mary must have found him somewhere. So, my 6 golden threads. My first golden thread, guys, is curiosity. It is curiosity. Every child on our planet is born to be curious. They're absolutely born with a possibility of being curious about what does that feel like, what does that taste like, what does that smell? Wow, what can I do with this? How can I manipulate it? There's hundreds of things, from a baby in a crib who's watching the mobile going round thinking, wow, 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 or startled by a loud noise, and then they look, they're curious. And so curiosity, in your spaces and places for play, what curiosity do you have? So I could easily have put these materials out in a basket, and I have lots of baskets around me, but today I've kept them in hidden. And are you curious to see what's in my bag? What's in my bag? What's in my bag today? What's in my bag? Now I could use this for the sand. I have a masher. I have a double masher. Look at that. That is interesting. Yeah. And that shape here would make a difference in the dough or in the clay or in the mud. Or at painting, I would be making a wiggly line, but what would happen when this comes down onto it? Would they be wiggly and spotty? Well, let's find that out. Let's be curious about that. What's in my bag? What's in my bag? Oh, I have, oh wow, let's have a look. I have small squiggles and I have big squiggles now. I have 2 mashers. Let's see what else I have in here. I'll not keep singing, you'll be glad to know. This is curious. It's a flat masher. A flat masher. And to get it to work, there's a bit of tech. So that little, a moment of joy. A moment of joy. Now, a child might not discover that and they might be printing like this. And you might sit down and just model and think, oh, that's interesting. Oh, and this works. And then leave it on the table and let them discover it themselves. Lots of circles in this masher. I'll not go through them all, but we'll keep being curious for a minute here. Oh my goodness me. And we have, oh, that's a different one. Oh, hang on, there's similarities there. A big one and a small one. And then, oh, that's a third wiggly one, but it's a teensy little miniature masher. And then I have another flat one here, but I have a different flat one. And that doesn't have something. So what we have to do is we have to squash that one in and flick it up. Squash it in. Oh, and flick it down. That was a bit challenging and hard. And then, look at the handle in this smasher. That's an interesting one, isn't it? And any more in here? Oh, look at this one. A rocking masher. Wow. And it's just thin lines. And hang on. What is this? This is something different. It's a chapati roller. Wow. Oh, the possibilities are endless in the paint, in the home corner, in the clay, in the pasta. I am curious now to get them all started. My second golden thread is this one. So adding to my curiosity, I have connection. I have connection. If a child is curious, what do they want to do? Well, hopefully they'll connect with the mashers or the treacle in the sand. They'll connect to us as we model and demonstrate, as we're a player, a co-player, a co-designer, a co-author of the play. And connection is hugely important. Connection. Suzanne Zeedyk talks about connection. Alison Gopnik talks about connection. And realistically, it's absolutely of paramount importance that we connect to other humans. We're born to connect. All of us were born to connect. Suzanne says that in a lot of her work. But connecting, because I'm not just in a room with little people and big people. I'm in a room full of materials. I'm in maybe 5 or 6 spaces that I am hesitant to go into, or I'm energetic and motivated to go into some of them because I've been in them before. And so attachment and connection is not just about human attachment anymore, because we're in a facility, we're in a setting, we're not at home, and we're not just with our loved ones. And so we need to connect to the materials that are on offer and the spaces and places that are there and available for us. The possibilities are endless if we do that, if we connect. And so if we are curious and we connect, let's think, how could we support connection? Now, we love a little rhyme and a little song, and in here I have my little bonding bag, and we send lots of our work home. So we have a little poem, Eyes, Nose, Cheeky, Cheeky, Chin. We send the words home, and we send some suggestions for mum or dad or gran or whoever, big brother, big sister, to do. So if I had little Sean up here, eyes, nose, cheeky, cheeky, chin, cheeky, cheeky, chin, nose, eyes, oh, eyes, nose, cheeky, cheeky, chin, cheeky, cheeky, chin, nose, eyes, oh. Now, if I was doing that with little Sean, I would not maybe be doing it on the, let me take Sean out of his basket for a minute. So I might not be doing it with the little visual. I might be doing it on Sean. Eyes and nose and cheeky, cheeky chin and cheeky, cheeky chin, nose, eyes. Oh, eyes and nose and cheeky, cheeky chin, cheeky, cheeky chin. nose, eyes, and don't forget your hair. Or I could be doing it on myself. Eyes and nose and cheeky cheeky chin, cheeky cheeky chin, nose, eyes. Oh, and so those wee moments, those little moments of connection cannot be undervalued. So, you know, a hug, hug, hug your bear, hug them very tight. Or two little tweet birds sitting on a tree. Or, oh, the bee's knees, the bee's knees. Let's see who's in here. We have a bee, a bee. I have a little honeybee. Buzz, buzz, buzz. So we're encouraging the line of sight as the bee buzzes around. We're going up and down. And now, if Sean was not my pretend baby, he would be tracking. Yeah, the bee's gone away. The bee's come back. The bee's gone away. The bee's come back. I have a little buzzy bee. Buzz, buzz, buzz. She gathers honey just for me. And you, yes, she does. Using your voice. She hovers on the honeysuckle. Bzz, buzz, buzz, buzz. She gathers pollen everywhere. Yes, she does. What we're doing is we're trying to connect little Sean here to something that he might learn to be a bit scared of. And my favourite little rhyme at the moment is, there's a tiny caterpillar on your hand. There's a tiny caterpillar on your arm. There's a tiny caterpillar, a tiny caterpillar, a tiny caterpillar on your nose. Chomp, chomper on your shoulder. Chomp, chomper on your ear. Chomp, chomp. And so we love a little visual to keep our little babies engaged and curious and connected. So when our children are curious and they feel connected, what do they want to do? Well, of course, what they want to do is communicate. They absolutely want to communicate. They want to talk. They want to tell us all about it. They want to talk about the marks they make with their mashers. They want to tell us about the little noises or the shapes or the crinkles or the squeaks on the little face here. They want to tell us all about it, either with their non-verbal cues or with their verbalization when they are ready to communicate. So communication is our third golden thread. Then, okay, they're communicating. What on earth are they communicating? They're communicating about their experiences. They're communicating their thoughts, their ideas, their aspirations, their hopes, their dreams. They're communicating their feeling, their emotion through the actions, emotions and words that we see appearing. And so communication is so huge. And we know globally that we're really struggling with communication, guys. So I'm going to do a whole little video on communication on my third golden thread. Now, so if they're curious and they're connected and they're communicating, they are communicating our two next golden threads. One, they're communicating their creativity. What can I do with this masher? And they're creating their critical thinking. Well, that didn't work, so how can I do it again? So creativity, and I don't mean art, I mean in the big, as huge, as massive as sense. Like what is it that I can do with this little purse here? What's in here? And I'm going to be creative when I bring them out. What's it? It's one little, two little, two little mice, and three little mice. So I'm now doing counting, and I'm thinking about, this one was first out. He's standing up, or he's kneeling up or sitting up, and they're sitting down. And so those two are the same, and this one is the odd one out. So mathematics. I am critically thinking about just three little objects who came out of here. Now, how do I get them back in? So let me think about that. I'm going to put it back in, and I'm going to put another one in, and number 3 is going to go in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, yay! can I find more mice? Can I see more mice? Is there mice anywhere? Oh my goodness me, I've just found another little mouse. I've gone in a mouse hunt and I found another little mouse. Whoa. And she's got wobbly legs and he could stand up, I think. Is there any more? Oh, here's another little mouse. Here's another little mouse as well. And oh, I've got 3 more mice. And this, oh, is this a little mouse? Oh, look, this little mouse here's got a hat on. And she's got a bag with carrots in. And so I am surrounding my children with possibility. To be critically thinking about the environment, the spaces and places. It's hard, it's soft, it's squishy, can make a noise with it. Or, what is this? This is interesting. I can, oh my goodness, I can tangle this and I can tie it in a knot. What else could I do with it? I could wrap it round my wrist 3 or 4 times. Oh, I can make a bracelet of it. What else could I do? I'm being creative now, aren't I? And I could, oh, in fact, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I could create this into a crown. I've got a crown on, oh my goodness. I can do hundreds of things with this. Can't see now, so let me put the glasses back on. I could make it into a little statue that stands up. I could make that statue a completely different shape. I could make it long. I could half it in 2. And it's got 4 little light, 1, 2. Oh, I've made some bunny ears. Possibilities. Creativity and critical thinking. What actually is this? How small can I squish it up into a ball? Almost. It's not quite a ball. I don't think it would roll anywhere. Yeah, and what noise does it make? Oh, when I I could make some brilliant marks with that if there was some treacle on there or some paint on there. So creativity and critical thinking. So let's think here. Let's see my desk, which is messy. I am curious. I am connected. I am communicating. My critical thinking and my creativity. And my last golden thread then, and it always pains me to bring it in last, is child well-being. Now, we have lots of conversations about should this be the first golden thread, but it's really hard to understand child well-being because we want our children to be well in mind. We want their mental health to be good and positive. And so we need to think about their mental health, so their cognition, their intellect, and how we feed it and help it to grow. We want their body to be healthy, so healthy in our physical hands and our body to be healthy. And heart, active in heart, well in my heart, emotionally stable. And so our child well-being is about self-worth, self-value, it's about attunement and affiliation, it's about them being the little person that they're here to become. It's not about our idea of the person. We have an idea of what children can do and what our hopes and aspirations are, but we need to give them time and space and possibilities to become who they're here. And we decided to put it last because it's the most fragile and vulnerable and it's the most important. And it weaves and hugs the rest of our golden threads. How do we get there? Well, we get there, we get to a child feeling that they are amazing, that they are fabulous, that they can do anything, they can change the world. We get them to there by putting all of the other golden threads in place. So if we allow our child to be curious, if we allow them to connect to not just one person or 2 people, but everybody, if we do lots of cooperative and communicative play, then they will start to go into that third golden thread, and they'll start to communicate, they'll start to share and take turns, they will start to play alongside and associate in their play, they will start to tolerate and respect the fact that it's not all about them, but it's about we, a collective amount of people. And in that, they will be sharing creativity and critical thinking en masse. And they will walk away from that play, those amazing possibilities that you offered them, with a spring in their step and a joy in their heart, and their heads will be bursting with thinking about what can I do next, where will I go next, what is ready for me, and what am I ready for. So our golden thread, our fragile and vulnerable golden thread, is made stronger by all of the others. So, possibilities of play, they are endless. But what we have to do is, as an educator, we have to think about our golden threads. Now, these are my golden threads, and lots of the schools that we work with's golden threads. But you might, my friend June has 7 golden threads. Guy Claxton talks about 8 golden threads. He doesn't name them golden threads, but I think they're his golden threads. And some of the nurses I go into have 9 or 10 golden threads. So I'm not suggesting that these have to be the golden threads that you have. I just want you to find your golden threads. Whatever fits your community of practice, whatever is important to the children that you serve every day, because we serve them. We serve them so that they can reach the possibilities that are on offer.